Say, welcome everybody to another episode of the Reputation Igniter podcast. We are super excited that you're joining us once again. Please hit that like, subscribe, turn the notification bell on. If you feel so inclined, leave a review. We always appreciate that. I'm super excited. We have today's guest is Jesse Villarreal, who is the owner of Adon Complete Air Conditioning and Heating. Jesse, thanks for coming.
Thank you, Chris, for having me. I'm super excited to be a part of your podcast and your community.
Yeah, well, we look forward to jumping into just your kind of path from where you started to getting here, and just kind of understanding maybe some of what your journey was like to kind of relate to some of our other HVAC business owners that are listening. Hopefully, you find another nugget here. Obviously, on the podcast, we're always trying to bring leaders and the experts in the industry, but what we really, really enjoy is what we're about to do right now, which is interview one of those hardworking HVAC owners who's out there benefiting and serving our communities. As we know, in the mainstream media, entrepreneurs are a little bit demonized, and we're just trying to bring a little bit of reprieve from all of that noisy, stuffy air and bring some fresh air to the fact that we have amazing, incredible people out there serving our communities in just fantastic and incredible ways. And so with that, Jesse, let's jump in real quick. Can you give us a quick, maybe 5-minute kind of rundown of where you kind of started, and then maybe how the HVAC industry entered your life, and then maybe where you and your business are now, just to give people an understanding of kind of, what your path was to where you're at today?
Well, I don't know about 5 minutes, but I can give you a compressed story quick. Well, I got an amazing uncle. His name's Arnaldo, meaner than a junkyard dog, but I love him to death. I started off as helper when I was probably roughly around about 14 years old, and grew in HVAC. He grew up in the trades for many, many years, and he's very, very firm. He thinks he knows everything about HVAC, but he's darn good. He's probably one of the best mechanic techs out there in the world.
Wow.
So I was this helper from 14 till 20 years old and some change and stuff. And so I learned all the nuts and bolts, what not to do in HVAC. How about that?
Yeah.
I'll put it that way. What not to do. But I learned a lot from him. He gave me that willpower and journey how to learn. And also, I'm a farm boy, so that kind of grew into it too. So there's no shaking about it. You got to know how to work in the farm. Whatever you got to do with cows, chickens, dogs, whatever you got to do, right? So that's my part of my hard work ethic right there is from my family, my dad, and stuff like that. So that's how I got into HVAC, is because of my uncle being a helper with him for years, and it led into me growing into be a mechanical engineer. Got my degree in that and worked hard in that. And I got an amazing opportunity with Nortel Networking. They gave me an opportunity back in '98, and they finished paying the rest of my school and education and stuff like that. So it was just a blessing how it all worked out, and got my internship done with them, and worked from '98 till 2006 with Nortel. Then I had an opportunity to work with Ericsson, Sony Ericsson, so Ericsson. So I got involved with Ericsson, and it was involved with critical environments and did testing and commissioning in data centers. So they sent me everywhere in the world, and I had to do all that fun stuff, fun jazz, and I was gone a lot and wasn't healthy with the life and family and such stuff like that, and was away quite a bit. But I learned a lot of technicality. I'm very technical, and so that's what grew my life journey in there, with all those high-end technical jobs, and having amazing opportunities working with the best corporate America jobs as well. Great question. Thank you, Chris, for asking.
Awesome.
I'm trying to squanch it down. There's more to it.
Well, I know, and I just want to sink my teeth into so many pieces that you kind of shared there, and I know that everybody, like just about everybody that's listening, is probably relating to a lot of that stuff. Maybe they're not a farm boy, right? But I think you don't start an HVAC business unless you are a hardworking person. You want to pursue excellence and deliver a great product or service to your customers, right? And that isn't something that you just kind of stumble into. Like, it is something that is instilled in you by somebody in your life, whether that is, your uncle Arnaldo, right? Or maybe your dad, or maybe it's just a coach, on the football field or soccer field or whatever, right? That kind of instills that hard work and ethic. I love it. So that's great. You're like me, you're a recovering engineer. So how in the world did you turn into becoming an entrepreneur and actually opening up your own business? Why? What was the spark there?
Well, let me introduce you my wife. My wife is Paola, and I better say her name, Paola. And she knew I had a passion of love to help people. But in the industry where I was at before, I didn't have an opportunity to help people. I was just helping machines and making sure those machines were designed correctly and or pass fill, whatever I got to do out there, right? So she knew I had a passion, and it was a blessing because of her. And plus, I was blessed. I had a good friend who's a millionaire. His name Mr. John, and he helped us out to get some a little loan he gave us to give us a little jump start. So it started because of my wife who kind of nudged me towards that direction and
Yeah.
and helping to go that direction. It was just a blessing. Everything fell right in place at the right time, right place when it did. Because Mr. John knew I was frustrated with the corporate America world, how I was gone so much,
Yeah.
and my wife knew I had a passion to help people. So it kind of started growing that way back in 2015 and 2016 is when we really opened shop.
Amen to that. I love it when the good Lord just kind of guides you, right? There's a
Yeah.
lot of uncomfortable sort of elements to that along the way, right?
Yep.
But
Yep.
you feel led in the right direction, and that's always great when it works out. And yeah, I attribute a lot of my success to my wife Midori, and so I totally get it. And I think the great men out there, they've got a good woman behind them for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure. You
You know
can't.
what?
It's hard to do it
Yes.
alone.
Every and I'm sorry, if another man's got a problem with this or something like
Yeah,
this,
right.
but Mr. John
We
told
like
me
to be controversial.
right. So Mr. John told me this very, very sharply. He goes, "Son,
Yeah.
the day you listen to your wife, that's the day you're going to be rich." Well, I haven't figured it out yet. I'm far away from the rich word, but every major organization has a woman behind the scenes who's driving the bus. Every
Amen.
major one of them. And if they're not, we'll
Absolutely.
get you one. Because I'm telling you right
Yeah.
now, it's not going to work. Because those
Yeah.
women right there can see a lot different than us men. I'm nuts and bolts. She can see
Yep.
way beyond light years in front of me. So that's just a blessing. She is the main source of Adon. What makes Adon drive and stuff like that. Because I'm still doing a lot of comfort advising out there. So it's hard for me to work on the business. And we'll get more detail about that here shortly. But
Yeah.
she is the one to answer your original first question off the bat.
Right.
Is because of her. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. So I think and Viola, like you get it. You're the number one blessing in the business. But let's just say outside of, the blessing of your wife, what else would you say maybe is the greatest blessing or, what would you consider in your tenure that was the greatest blessing and maybe why do you consider it that? And then what part has that kind of played into, what's come to fruition in the success of your organization so far?
Well, it there's a lot of blessings. Every day's a blessing. Just getting out of the
Yeah.
bed and be able to help. And my aha is where how many people we can feed, how many families we're helping, how
Mm.
many people we're helping to go in different directions. And when I hear
Yeah.
lively stories from other people from the team is they're doing this or they're bringing new family members. I mean, our installers. I mean, there was 3 installers had babies this past year. It was oh my gosh.
Whoa.
And so we're like, that's more mouths to feed. And so,
Yeah. Yeah.
behind the grounds, I'm like, like in front of the ground, I'm like, yay, keep going. Another mouth I gotta feed. And so it's a blessing, right? Every day's a
Yep.
blessing to see families grow. And me and Paola we really put so much back into the business. I mean, heck, we sold our personal home to move back into my childhood home so we can put more back into our business. That's the truth.
Wow.
I mean, we live off of farm eggs and cheese from the sheep. I mean, this is how it is. Yeah, yeah. And so, it's just we do that because we put our everybody in training. I mean, we're invested in Nexstar networking group
Yeah.
for more training, business training, technicians how to
Yeah.
give our customers a 5-star experience,
Yep.
CSR training, dispatcher training, service manager training. So that's the blessing right there. Is we're taking a lot of skin off our backs to make sure it's going back into our employees. We don't drive nothing
Yeah.
rich. I don't drive nothing rich. I drive a
Yeah.
Kia. That's no joke. I drive a Kia. And people make fun of me like, you drive a Kia? Yes, go look. It's gray. That's the blessing. That's my
Yeah.
blessing. I don't need to be rich. I don't need to be rich.
Right.
I just need to be
Yeah.
happy. Got a
Right.
couple nickels in the bank. I'll be happy with that. You know?
I love it. I love it. Because I think, like you said, I think people think of a blessing and they think of like, oh, it's a present, it's a gift or something that like, kind of came out of somewhere, right? But I heard this from one of my mentors a long time ago, but he said that men are like an 18-wheeler, like a carrier truck.
Yep.
They drive straight when they're under load,
Yep.
right? And you think about that as like, yeah, how many
Yep.
men in our society are kind of constantly shirking responsibilities? They're
Yep.
seeking out pleasureful activities instead of like really taking on the yoke of their family, maybe their business or their vocation, whatever they're doing, and really just understanding that is really truly the blessing that you get out of life, is the fact that you actually get to work towards and earn that stuff. So I love that you share that, because I think there's a lot of people out there that might be just they got their eye on that new truck, right? And it's like, yeah, you're gonna get it and it will feel good maybe for a little while, but it ain't really that lasting sense of purpose and all that good stuff that you got going on. So I love
Right.
that. All right, so
There's like a lot of our team members don't know that backstory of the truth about that.
right.
I mean, me and Paolo keep the smiles on the face and stuff and grind it out. And, that to me, if I heard that, if my employer did that for the company, for the sake of the company, gosh, I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't have to deal with that before because I worked in corporate America. But,
Right.
if you're working at a small shop, it's just, wow. I mean, people are welcome to come here. I mean, when you see our childhood home, it's nothing spectacular. It's
Right.
just, you know, 3 bedrooms and a small house and a grumpy dog
It's
over here.
it's warm and it's got a roof, right? That's the important piece, right? And the
It's
doors the doors shut and the windows don't whistle, hopefully.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So so Jesse, let's transition. Let's
Sure.
shift gears here. So what would you say has maybe been your biggest mistake to date? Right. Like, and then
Hmm,
maybe if you can kind of tell us like, how
hmm.
did you handle it? How'd you maybe recover from it? What did you learn? I think that would be helpful for the listeners if you're willing to share, obviously.
That's a big question right there, Chris, and
Yeah.
and and I got a plan for this too, where I'm going to give
Oh,
it.
okay. Oh, great.
So, uh, you know, you got to understand business. Nobody told me that up front. Is you have
Mm,
to understand business. You have to understand
yeah.
numbers. You have to understand, what's cash flowing good, what's not, what's happening, how you're measuring each person's numbers. I mean, it's even to the point where you need to measure the CSR numbers, how many inbounds and how many outbound calls are coming in and out, right? Or
Yeah.
what's a trigger needs to be adjusted on that, right? Okay, let's measure the technicians. What's their average tickets on the technicians? How are they doing on the maintenance call? What's their average tickets on maintenance call? What's the average on their demand calls? So it's a huge formula. Nobody told me. I mean, I didn't know. I
Right.
I never worked for somebody else's shop and stole the secrets. Never. I've
Yeah.
learned this from hardcore work and learning. This is my biggest
Mm,
mistake, is not understanding how to operate business up front. If somebody back in 2015, if somebody says, you know what, you better spend a good year or 2 years, learn from another shop or something like that, get a little bit of recipes up front,
yeah.
we probably could be a little bit more different where we're at today. Just honest, right? Because
Yeah.
I didn't know how to operate. And it's a totally different world. When you're going from corporate America world and going from the service world, it's totally different world. And
Yeah.
that was a big adjustment for me, because I remember in corporate America, we can sit there at a conference room table and us, there's some smart people, smart
Yeah.
people, and we're ironing it out and we're talking it up and shooting. Hey, what do you think? No, what do you think? Hey, what if we made this adjustment here and there, this and that? That's a different world I came from, but the world now it's a little bit different. They want more structure. They want more systems. They want more process, and that's the other failure too. We didn't have systems and process solid in place. And now we're
Hmm.
growing that now. That's my action plan. It's happening right now as we're speaking. We're more strong into the systems and process to make sure it makes sense. And so
Yeah.
being coached up with Nexstar, my coach is named Jeff Stagnoli, amazing person, amazing person. He holds me
Yeah.
accountable.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't
That's
blow me
good.
up yet. But that's 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 a different level, is having the right mentors and coach in this industry to be able to grow it, right? Because I don't
Yeah.
know the secret sauce. I'm still learning. Well, heck,
Right.
I may turn on a podcast here later on, or I may whatever study up. I'm
Yeah.
constantly learning. But
Right.
the biggest mistake is me having tools in my car or truck, whatever I was driving at the time, and it's going over there and fixing things,
Hmm. Hmm.
not working on the business, working at the business. The
Yeah.
biggest the biggest thing I did about 3 years ago, let's say 3 years ago,
Yeah.
was I gave my tools away.
Ah.
I gave my tools away. I really did.
Huh.
I gave my tools away. You know what? If I'm going to learn business, and I did learn it from a good friend of mine. He has his own HVAC company, and I learned that from him. And I don't want to say his name because he might punch him in the chin later. But uh, he's an amazing person. And so
Yeah.
he told me flat out. He says, Jesse, the day you get rid of your tools, you're going to learn how to do business. You need to learn business. This is no
Yeah.
joke. Nobody else is going to
Yeah.
bring you money. Nobody's going to put hay in the barn for you. This is on you.
Right.
That
Yeah.
was an eye opener right there, because I thought if you knew how to do the work, or to fix machines, whatever, the work just flops in there, and money just comes in behind it. Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Well, like you're saying, you'll always have a job, right? But you'll never really necessarily have a business. And I think that that's something I hear a lot of that in terms of the stories I hear from my clients, the stories I hear from people that I'm interviewing on the podcast. Like you're saying, is like usually they come up through the technician, right? And I think most of us, like we just kind of have to start there. Is like you got to be in the trenches, you got to learn learn whatever trade it is that you got, right? And then you kind of continue to morph that up and get out of your business. But you have to get out of your business if you really want to grow it, right? And feed more mouths and help more people and all that kind of stuff. So what for you, that was obviously probably a pretty hard transition to like, give away your tools, right? And I'm sure there's a lot of people like looking over their seat in their car going, I'm never gonna give those away, or what, oh, I don't know if I could do that. What was finally maybe the straw that broke that camel's back, right? Like what was it? That was it just the one guy that told you, or do you feel like there was a couple of other things that kind of came into fruition that kind of made you wake up and go, yeah, shoot, I gotta really take that action. I just
Yep.
be
Yep.
curious.
My mentor. My
Yeah.
mentor. And really, woke me up and realized, you try. I'm a pleaser. That's my other weakness. I'm a flat pleaser. I
Yeah.
will please the world, and I'm a sucker for the dollar, but I'm working on it, right? I'm learning, I'm
Right.
learning, I'm learning, and stuff like that. So, but it that's that right there was my big jump, is to do that, and having a good service manager in place too. Mitch is
Yep.
our service manager, and he's
Awesome.
really tightened the ship down over there on that side of the fence, and where I'm not getting the phone calls from the technicians and this and that. When it's rough, when I'm hearing them struggling through problems and stuff like that, I'm like, golly, I can go over there 30 minutes, get this thing up and running, fix and jump this out and do this, but I got to back off. I got to let
Yeah.
people breathe. So that was my big jump. It was, for sure my mentor Jeff Stagnoli, a big part of that too, and plus the other good person who I know. I don't want to say his name yet, but one day
Yeah.
off the record I'll tell you who it is. But yeah,
Sounds good. Well, I love it. Thanks for sharing that. I think, we've probably heard that maybe many times, and maybe some of us have mentors, and, some have coaches. And I think that's even that's an animal in and of itself to kind of navigate, right? To make sure that you got a good quality one. I think sometimes you just kind of got to realize that, hey, maybe this person isn't the right the right fit for me, or it's not the person, those
Yeah.
things tend to change and evolve, right? But like you said, the importance of having that other somebody's further down the path that knows these systems to kind of help you out. So love it. What and maybe you alluded to this earlier, right? And this is what you're going to say, but I'd love for you to kind of unpack it a little bit more. Like, what trait has been the trait that you feel like is your greatest strength or your asset in business? I know you talked about, your uncle Arnaldo and him teaching you about hard work and having a work ethic, but maybe is there something else that maybe you would say is kind of one of your strengths? Obviously, a pleaser like me is a weakness, but what would you say is that trait?
Well, my biggest trait is, and I still kind of I got to hold myself back, but I'm there's sometimes you just can't, right? You just
Yeah.
can't because you love what you do so much, and is airflow, designing
Oh, okay.
systems.
Yeah.
Um,
System design. Okay.
yes, that's my other passion. I love designing systems and recreating, the whole ductwork system to give the customer a better solution. So
Yeah.
that's the other side of it. I'm, super technical,
Yeah.
but also too, I got to understand the balance of it too. But there will be a time and day when Jesse's done going out there doing comfort advising. But I got to make sure I got the right people in place to be able to follow in how I think. And when I hear from other technicians and stuff, who's been around and yeah, has worked for other companies, that's the first thing they say. Like, you are unique and you're different. You are not. You are not the same old Joe where I was at there. They didn't have a clue about ratios. They didn't understand about the flows or CFMs. What's the concept of this and that and heat gains and stuff like that. And so yeah, I got to really back off, don't go so deep because I know how my
Yeah.
engineering head start works and calculates
Yeah.
and starts, and so I got to really squash it down and give them the right information tools how to be able to analyze a problem. So that's my big strength there. I can okay. Another super strength too is we sell train equipment. We're comfort specialists for train,
Okay.
and I do a lot of support, technical support. I backed off. I really had to backed off because it was eating
Oh.
way too much of my time. And so tech support from train will call me and ask me, hey, we got this problem here, we got this over here,
Oh,
or something
wow.
like this on a zoning problem or airflow problem or something like that. And so I have dived in several times and bailed out many situation or problems on those kind of situations. But I love it. I have passion, but doesn't
Yeah.
bring money in when you do that.
Yeah.
Does it? Next thing you know,
No.
you're fully invested in this problem for the next 2 or 3 hours, and next thing you know, you're like, hmm, I
Wait a
didn't win.
minute.
Another contractor won. They're the hero
Yeah.
now. But
Right.
it's okay. It's part of that. It's part of that. My DNA is to give to receive. You know
Sure.
that balance because
Absolutely.
maybe I'm going to need a bailout one day. I don't know. But
Right.
that's my strong suit on that part right there. But I'm diverting this. I am diverting this.
Good for
I
you.
am working on my business mind. I'm switching that, and so I kind of had to restrict a little bit with when I get the phone calls or text messages or something like that from tech support from Train, and it's like, okay, guys, thank you. I really do appreciate it. Here's do X, Y, and Z. Doesn't work. Try this. So I'm keeping it very simple conversations with them versus how, oh my God, we need to recreate the world. And, my wife makes fun of me. She goes, you're going to send air conditioning to the moon. You are the only one in the face of the world who's probably going to send air conditioning to the moon. I'm like, everybody deserves the best. And I am super anal for the best. I mean,
Yeah.
I am so anal. Every install of ours has to have a hanging kit under all the equipment. They have to have all supply box return boxes and stuff. I tell people we're customizing this equipment. You know that, right? We're
Right. Yeah.
customizing. This is no joke. This is customized install. And when I hear from other people and other, you know, I'm, I'm not going to say their names or anything like that, but the quality is just not there. Air conditioning
Yeah.
has to be treated. not just box in, box out. If you want to put an 18 seer in, but you got to have 18 seer quality install with it too. You just
Yeah.
have to. The ductwork has to match for that quality of install, or the copper lines, or the control wire, all those basic things to give a good quality install. And
Love it.
that's my passion right there, to make sure I am laser focused. When it comes to that, I am, yeah, I do drive to almost every install and white glove it. And the joke is when the installers see me pull up, they're like, "Oh my God, here we're going to be here 2 more hours." Well, what quarter did you cut? Is there a quarter we cut? Is there a problem? Is there a situation we need to talk about it or something? And so that's the running joke, because they know I'm going to white glove. We're probably the only one in the whole world of air conditioning. We carry turtle wax spray in the install trucks to wipe down this equipment to get all the smudges and finger marks off the units, because I want them shine like a nickel, and they better. Now, I am
Love it.
that super anal about our installs.
Well, there's no question that you are an engineer. It reminds me of my Navy nuclear days and just that level of attention to detail on everything. And like I'm with you, man. I'll go down rabbit holes and just double, triple check things, just because, like you said, I want every T crossed, every I dotted, and I just like that's what I take and pride my like reputation on, right? So, with that in mind, because this is the Reputation Igniter podcast, what would you say is like the cornerstone of your company's like reputation, and maybe like how did you identify or find it, and then how are you kind of maybe not innovating but building upon that like every day for you and your company?
Customer service.
All
Customer
right.
service. You got to
Yeah.
give that customer a 5-star experience.
Yeah.
I mean, really give that customer a great experience. I got a rule. I got a rule. If you see the trash can at the curve of the house and it's empty and it's already been dumped, I mean, pull it up there to the house. Just don't.
Yeah.
You have to wow the customer and ask them, a lot of open-ended questions. And that's where we're really laser focused on, is to give that customer that wow factor. I mean, we just don't want to go, part in, part out. We want to give that customer a great solution, because we don't have to see them next, 2-3 months, because we fixed one thing, but we didn't do a thorough evaluation on another thing. We missed it. That's on us. That's not going to happen. We're working on that. Mitch service department, they're working on that to get better and better and sharper to make that happen. I'm holding him very accountable on this.
Yeah.
And this is the turning block right there, is because it's very hard to gain customers. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
easy. Word of mouth speaks far.
Yeah.
But we are a true organic company. Our company is so organic. We deserve every bit of shout outs, messages out there we get out there, and customers. None of our stuff is tailored or made up. And there's too much of that going on. I mean,
Oh yeah.
you can read in other Google reviews and people's, if they're made up. I mean,
Oh yeah.
the average person, there's going to be some slang words or this and that, but if you can tell if it's professionally written up, ours is not, and that's what
Yeah.
sets us different. Is we're going to give our customer a great experience, and by having a strong program, we work with Service Titan, so
Yep.
Service Titan doesn't lie. Service Titan
Yeah.
doesn't lie. But we got to understand the numbers where we got to make our adjustments in the business with Service Titan as well. It's not a plug and play program. It's not
Yeah.
hard,
Nope.
rigorous. My
Yeah.
wife has taken it on her back and shoulders to make it better and stronger, and
Oh, that's
really
awesome.
understand the program, really understand how to dissect it, how to work with the. We're switching over this year because of her, because she says we're going to switch over and use the inventory program with Service Titan to make us better, efficient
Yep.
systems and process in place. Then we're going to divert over to start using our PO process right now with that, and also the phone system. We're going to be able to track better
Yeah.
inbound, outbound calls coming in and out and stuff like that. And so we're taking this to the next level. And
Love it.
yeah, we're just not going to hang our hats there. You know, everything is so paperless. You know,
Yeah.
and so
Well, I mean, I think that's one of the challenges that, especially for contractors, the 10 years I've been working to try and bring technology
hmm
into the home services industry, right? Like that's where I'd say that, there's a lot of resistance. So the fact that you're leaning into a service like Service Titan or Sarah, right, which are kind of like the two big ones if you're really like,
yeah,
serious
yeah,
about your business, right? Like it takes
yeah,
time. It's an investment. I think some people think it's as easy as just kind of well, arguably switching banks is pretty complicated, but in terms of like, just maybe upgrading from like, having something simple like House Call Pro, but to like go that next step to like a serious system where you can like track and inventory just about everything. But you, like you said, you got to take the time, set it up. You got to be very business system minded. You got to have the right people on board to kind of really drive that. But it can really, like you said, bring a lot of efficiency. So absolutely love it. And I love what you talk about there with your reputation. I think so many people can get so focused on like, hey, we gotta have a tight, clean, smooth sales process. But I love the fact that you're like, no, if the garbage can's sitting out there, it's empty, bring that in, right? You gotta,
yeah,
like you said, and again, it's not like, was that a lot of work? No, you were walking from the van to the house, right? Just bring that with you, right?
yeah,
And just all these small things. That's how you're going to differentiate yourself in such a highly
yeah.
competitive industry that we have. That's how you earn a customer, right? A customer for life. And that's kind of what I was getting from you is like, you're earning a customer for life as opposed to just coming in, checking a box. Hey, we swapped out that part. Instead, you're going, hey, how can we treat the system as a whole and really make sure that you are delighted with not only the end result, but like the experience of working with us and realizing that we're part of your family and we are really, focused on making sure that you and your family are in a comfortable environment.
Right. Or the new thing is, when the guys are there, they're asking for the Google review, and
Right.
they're asking for it. They're really asking, and they know if they didn't give them a 5-star experience, make it right. Make it
Right.
right. Here's the opportunity. They're going to tell you, hey, did I answer everything or did everything for you for your service today? And
Yeah.
and really sit back and pause and listen. Okay. And
Yep.
in whatever direction the customer comes back, they feel whatever. If they do, and they're like, "Oh yeah, high five, great service, great, let's move forward." Then let's say it diverted over and says, "No, I feel whatever, okay, great. What can I do to make it right?" That's the
Right.
opportunity to make it right.
Yeah.
Eh,
Yeah.
that's the value right there.
100%. Well, and like you said, I think, realizing that your reviews are speaking for you, right? Like that's like anybody can put anything on their website, right? But like that third party validation of it being out there. And obviously the thing that we're all dealing with now is like these fake reviews, which Google's getting better and better at like ripping them away, which I think is awesome to watch them clean that up. It's a tricky place for sure to make sure that you're not destroying these businesses in the process. But like you said, getting those authentic reviews out there to speak on your behalf. I mean, that's their first impression of you, right? Like, they get a referral and that's what they're going to see. So I love that you guys are focusing on that.
hmm
So kind of Jesse, as we're kind of wrapping up here, what would you say was like the point in your business where your reputation just like kind of took off? Or maybe there wasn't like that hockey stick growth. Maybe there was just, it's been a kind of a slow burn. Was there anything in particular maybe you feel like you've done, or was there a turning point at any point? Just kind of curious, what that journey's been like for you.
It's building relationships. You know, it's just building relationships, and there's nothing better when I'm there at a kitchen table at a customer's house and doing that and helping for that turning point. But I need to get everybody on the same page to do that, right?
Yeah.
And that's our goal for 2024. I think 2024 is, we have our core values, we have our mission
Yep.
statement. All those are, plastered, in our conference room area. And we just recently did it, and I had to send you a picture of this. I
I'd love
can't
it.
do it here, but is our core values are right there. Then we even just recently started this past week is posting everybody's KPIs on the board.
Ooh, all right.
That
Some
that
transparency. Love it.
yes, Yeah, well, it's going to be embarrassing when you got to come in with the red marker on the wall and say, "Well, I only did X this past week." Well, why you can't have a blue mark?
Right.
Hmm.
Right.
So,
Ah.
yeah, that was the conversation today with Mitch. Was doing today in his meeting. I was just there to support, and he got up there and stood up like as a coach, pointed at the board, said,
Love
"Guys,
it.
gentlemen, this is what you did so far for this month. We had so many working days in here this month, and this is how many days we have left over right here. How we're going to make our numbers for this month here. Look, this person right here is this percentage. This person right here is at this percentage. This person right here, this percentage. The next following week, you will be coming up here, and you're going to have to write your numbers on the board. So be prepared.
Yeah.
Are you going to grab the blue, or are you going to grab the red pill?
Ooh. Yeah.
I'm just saying."
Man. Yeah.
So
I
so
love
you,
it.
so it's funny. It's funny.
Yeah.
Anything gets what gets sold on the field already. I believe a couple technicians have done a couple $1,000s already of
Yeah.
having these solid conversations already today, and already kind of sent one to a shout out. We have a group chat, and I already sent a shout out to one of the techs already. I'm like, great job. You're going in the right direction and
Yeah.
stuff. You know, because us business owners, we're not an endless cash tree. We're not.
Right. Ain't that the truth? So
Yeah, yeah,
love it.
yeah,
Love it.
yeah.
Thanks, Jesse. I think like what you were just kind of pointing at, like that transparency. I think it can be scary, right? Because you can think, oh man, like what's my team gonna think, and are they gonna feel like they're being put on blast? But like you said, I think sometimes maybe we just don't know, right? And like to your point, a couple of those techs who are now out there working a little harder, maybe they just thought they had better numbers than they did, right? And so you just kind of bringing that to their attention, causes them to be a little bit more motivated, a little bit more focused. And hey, we all get distracted. We've all got complicated lives, right? So like you said, just bringing some of that stuff to attention, creating a collaborative, cooperative environment. I think it's a great way to just make sure everybody knows what's going on, so that you can keep your finger on the pulse of the business and really drive in the forward. So we'll kind of end up with this, Jesse. What would, if you had, you know um, you're looking at your younger self, right, when you just started out, what piece of advice or what kind of nugget of wisdom would you say is something you want to share? Maybe you've already shared it, but maybe you
Huh.
want to just kind of reiterate it before we kind of sign off here.
Read a lot of damn books. Read a lot of books. Okay, there's a lot of amazing books out there. I mean, I probably can tell you tons of them. I got my son. I'm actually using his room because the internet's better in
Yeah.
this room. Whatever. That's what you get when you live in a farmhouse, right?
Yeah, right.
Read a lot of books. I mean, find
Yeah.
find 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 motivators out there. Tony Robinson's the best one. Simon Sinek's a really good one right there. Those
Yep.
guys right there will. I mean, they're not service people. Let's get that straight. But they're going to get your
Yep.
head straight right. And there's another one I just came across. Her name was Cody Sanchez. Cody Sanchez.
Yep.
Oh my God, you got to run it. You better run to YouTube and listen to all this free stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I wish somebody told me this 8 years ago when I started this business here. I mean, could you imagine where I'd be at today? I
Yeah.
mean, it's fine. I'm happy where I'm at today. But
Right.
the value and goals, what I can tell anybody, if anybody's going to start a service business here, but
Yeah.
learn, 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 get
Love it.
involved, go visit other shops. And that's another goal of mine too for
Mm.
2024 is go visit the biggest, baddest shops out there. It doesn't matter, electrical, plumbing, HVAC, garage doors. I mean, oh, the
Yeah.
other one, Tommy Mello. Tommy
Ah.
Mello.
Okay. Yep.
Tommy Mello.
Okay.
I mean, he's a good one. And there's another one
Everybody
who I
knows that
really,
name, or should
yeah,
know.
I really look up to a lot. Is tall. It's called oh, it'll come to me. Ishmael Valdez. Ishmael Valdez. And
Yep.
whenever if I can ever make a trip to go to California and visit his shop, golly, I
Yeah.
would. I mean, you got to learn. It's the only way you can save time. If you want to save time, you have to find the biggest, baddest sharks out there to learn. I mean,
Yeah.
I just recently done all this a couple of years ago. So if I can give you anybody peace of mind, if whatever our time we spent here is find you the baddest mentor, find you a coach, get to the
Yep.
best. Why did Tom Brady last until, played until he's 45 years old? Is because he had the baddest coaches around him. Weightlifting coaches, running coaches, throwing coaches. The dude spent millions of dollars on his personal well-being. And one thing amazingly, I just told the guys that I've been telling the guys, is this a job to you? Or are you a pro? There's a big difference.
Ooh.
What's the difference?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this a job in 8 to 5? Or are you a pro? Here's the difference. A pro studies. A pro trains. A pro gets the best coaching in their lives to get to be the best. Not on the company's clock, but
Right.
your time. That's the difference.
Yeah.
I want
Yeah.
pros.
Love it.
That's my
Well,
takeaway. What I can share is motivate, get motivated.
yeah. Well, to your point, right? It's all that investment in yourself, right? And I think most people, I would say my generation is pretty good at investing. I think sometimes though there's a little less application. So you got to have that healthy balance, like you said, right? Like make sure that you're there and you're applying yourself on the job and you're learning your hands-on, training, right? But also making sure that you're kind of rounding that out with books and podcasts and stuff. I know you said that was a big thing for you, is listening to podcasts and just kind of keeping that flow of learning from other people and all that kind of stuff. So Jesse, I so appreciate your insight, your wisdom. I am going to, if you want people to kind of reach out or know a little bit about you, I'll talk to you later about what you feel comfortable with. We'll put that down in the comment section below so that people can kind of reach out to you and just pick your brain if they got some additional questions. Cause I think the more we create connections inside of our industry, the healthier, the stronger it'll be. And so with that, we're going to wrap up another episode of the Reputation Igniter podcast. Again, our focus here is to create the only barrier of entry to our industry as being that you are a professional and your level of professionalism in your business. And so our hope is to continue to elevate our industry, to improve our communities, to employ awesome and incredible hardworking people and serve the families that we so much cherish as our neighbors in our local areas. So please, again, like, subscribe, hit the review notification button. And if you want to leave a review, we so appreciate it. That's the way that we get this out to more HVAC business owners, and obviously always sharing a kind word with another one saying, hey, this is a great podcast to listen to. We hope to continue to bring to life more and more of your stories like we did with Jesse. So thanks again for listening. And thanks again, Jesse, for being on. We're so excited to share some more stories coming up. Take care. See you next time.
Thank you, Chris.
Of course. My pleasure.